When we analyze hockey, we all have our own biases. Everybody does it. Everybody likes certain players and they don't like other players, or the way a player plays you might like. Like for me, I like big players. I like players with, good in front of the net, really good at winning battles. I really like Zach Hyman, for example. He's the depiction of almost not perfect, but as close to a perfect hockey player as you're going to get, because he's just so good at winning battles. I love the ability to do that, and I love a good two-way player, a guy that can score but also play defense. I think that players like that win in the playoffs. I think the evidence is really clear on that as well. And I'm going to admit it, when it comes to the Montreal Canadiens, I was very biased against Lane Hutson. And Lane Hutson is going to be the player that we are going to be talking about in today's video. And I admit it, Lane Hutson has impressed me mightily this year. I mean, let's be clear, he is fourth in scoring for NHL defensemen, just behind Hughes. The only players that are ahead of him is Cale Makar, Zach Werenski, and Hughes, and then he is in number 4. And Hedman, he's above Hedman, Dahlin, Bouchard, Fox, Morrissey, Carlson, Shea Theodore, Jake Sanderson, the Carlson that plays for Washington, Sergachev. He is ahead of a lot of players, and that is just straight up unbelievably impressive. There's no doubt about that. Now, I will say that I still personally believe that he needs to work on his defensive game. See, I might actually be wrong about that, though, because he might actually just end up being a player where perhaps he just is bad defensively or something, or he might not be that good defensively, but you just got to let him be an offensive player and just accept that he just is what he is. But the article today is going to be touching on his contract, and he has 1 year left until he's an RFA, and I just want to touch on this today. So we have an article called NHL Rumors, How the Montreal Canadiens Handle Lane Hutson's New Deal. The Montreal Canadiens have a special player on their hands, and that player is defenseman Lane Hutson. He is already in the Calder Trophy conversation as the best rookie in the NHL. Depending on who you ask, he is in the clubhouse of Celebrini, Wolf, and Mishkov. Absolutely, completely fair there. He has been way better than I thought he was going to be this season. And the Montreal Canadiens have sputtered a little bit here, but they've had about the season that I've expected. I thought that they were going to be able to score a lot, and they've had about the season that I have expected. However, besides the Calder Trophy and the push to the playoffs, Canadiens management will have to decide what they want to do with Hutson after the season. Hutson will enter year 3 of his entry-level deal that carries an annual average value of $950,000. So my opinion on this is going to be, when you have an RFA, use the fact that he is a restricted free agent to your benefit. Okay? I'll say that again. Use it to your benefit. Take it from a Leaf fan, guys. They did not squeeze any of their players when they had a chance, except Nylander, of course. And it came back to bite them. And now they're essentially begging Mitch Marner to stay. I don't think you want to piss a player off. I think you want to be respectful with what you're offering him. But you should absolutely use your advantage. He is a restricted free agent. And he has another year remaining on his deal. But I'm going to be very interested to see what the Montreal Canadiens do with Lane Hutson. I mean, he's a fantastic player. He is eligible to sign an extension on July 1st. They always are before when they go in their last year of RFA. And the Canadiens could follow a similar pattern as they did with Caulfield, Suzuki, Slavkovsky, and Gulli. All of those players signed in the final year of their entry-level deals and were signed to a long-term contract extensions. All 4 got long-term deals from the Montreal Canadiens. Fair enough. I personally am an advocate of them signing him early. I actually like the way they do that because you can get a better deal for him. You can start the negotiations now, right? David Pagnotta from the 4th period was on TSN Radio in Montreal, and he was asked about Lane Hutson and his next contract with the Montreal Canadiens. It is believed that they will follow a similar pattern with Lane Hutson. Okay, so generally speaking, I would say I would agree with that. Now, I am very interested to see exactly what the dollar amount that he is going to get. So, to the Canadiens fans listening to this, what is the highest dollar amount, low and high, that you would go, and then what do you think the actual contract will end up being between the Montreal Canadiens and Lane Hutson? The article continues. The question will be what Hutson will get. There are comparisons to Quinn Hughes out of Vancouver, especially the way he dominates on the ice from the back end. Hughes got 7.85 million on AAV coming out of entry level with the Canucks. Faber with the Minnesota Wild, who by the way he is amazing. AAV got 8.5 million on his contract, which begins next year. It is unclear if Hutson gets as high as 9 million. Wow, that is a huge number. That is what Cale Makar got from the Colorado Avalanche. Now you have to keep that in context that it's going to go by the percentage of the cap. So what I would do is I would pick which one of those players do you think is the closest comparable to Lane Hutson, and then you would probably have to give him the same percentage of the cap. I wonder from Lane Hutson's mentality if he's going to want to wait, though, because remember, the salary cap is going up in the next 3 years. In 3 years from now, it's estimated to be $113 million. So a lot of players are going to look at that and be like, I don't know, man, I might want that. You know what I mean? Might want a higher number than that. The article continues. However, Hutson could be a middle ground between Hughes and Faber. Fair enough. Caden Gooley's new contract with the Canadiens starts next season, and he will be paid $5.55 million on AAV. So you know it will be higher than that right now, obviously. The Canadiens have a structure set up with their young players, Captain Nick Suzuki, whose AAV is $7.875 million, is the highest of the young core. I'm sorry, he's going to get more than that. I think he's getting more than Nick Suzuki, okay, at the end of the day. And by the way, Suzuki has just been absolutely unbelievable. And then Patrick Laine's at like about $8.7 million, so we're going to have to see. But I personally think Lane Hutson is going to get more than that. I'm really going to be interested to see what David Pagnotta is going to be touching on the Montreal Canadiens recently as well. Like, I'm really interested to see how they finish off the rest of this season. They're in the crunch time right now, and then what they're going to do in the off season especially. It's going to be very exciting. I think the Montreal Canadiens are going to be a force to be reckoned with, especially next year. Drop your comments below, guys. If you can make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, I greatly appreciate it, and have a great day. Goodbye, guys.